Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to the temple. We begin our service as we're singing together, Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. How beautiful the day is. It is Shabbat. Turn now to page 2 for the blessing for the candles. I would like to invite Susan and Ray Allen to lead us in the blessing over the candles and the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Please turn to page 5. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
And we turn now to page 20 to sing together Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride. As we turn to page 28 for the Berlow. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, forcefully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ama'ariv Aravim. And we turn to page 34 for the calling of the Shema. Seated. Please join me as we read together on top of page 36, the Ve'ahavta. The first part until the end of the first paragraph happens to be from this week's Torah portion. Also the first line of the Shema is part of this week's Torah. So when we join together, we're kind of doing the mitzvah of reading from the Torah on Shabbat together. Please join me. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And these words
And we turn now to page 40 to sing the same song that our ancestors sang as they were crossing the Sea of Reeds, Mi Chamocha. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch ata Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We rise as we turn to page 46 for the tefillah. אתה אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, God of our fathers and mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and mothers, and brings redemption to their children's children for the sake of the divine name. Sovereign deliverer, helper, and shield, blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You rain dew upon us. You sustain life through love, giving life to all. Through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated as we turn to page 61 for the blessing for shalom, for peace and wellness and wholeness. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Shalom
We all need healing and strength and courage in our lives as we think in our minds and in our hearts about everyone we know that is in need of healing and strength and courage. We turn to page 253 to sing together the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing and courage and strength. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. In our Torah portion, we have two of the most important teachings that we can find in the entire Torah, maybe in the entire Jewish tradition. There are a lot of exciting parts in our Torah portion, but the two more famous ones, or two more that made an impression on our tradition, are what we call the two tablets of covenant, or sometimes we refer to it mistakenly, by the way, as the 10 Commandments. In the Hebrew, it's not called commandments, mitzvot, it's called Aseret Advarim, which means the 10 statements, or the 10 things, or the 10 words. You can translate in different ways, but definitely doesn't say mitzvah or commandments, but that's one part of our Torah portion. And the other part is a part that we say twice a day, or at least twice a day during the daily prayers, and that is the Shema, not what we answer to the Shema, but just Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God. And then we translate it either Adonai is one or Adonai is alone, meaning that the word Echad in Hebrew means both unique, only, and one. And then comes the Ve'ahavta, the part that is also quoted in the daily prayer at least twice a day. And if that is not enough, we have also other things I'll mention later on, just one of them from our Torah portion. So our Torah portion is very unique. It's also unique because, as you all know, Judaism is not really that much about faith. We don't have dogmas of faith like other religions. In fact, most Jews define themselves as secular, meaning that they don't have faith at all. So Judaism is really, our tradition is really more about community, belonging, being part of a people. And in the Torah, we find mainly about things that we should do, things that we should value, but not so much about faith. And yet, in our Torah portion, there's so much about faith. And mainly, what we even call the Jewish call of faith, that is the Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one, or Adonai is alone. And that actually says a lot. It's, when you think about it, a very radical statement. It calls us to hear, all of Israel, and then it says, Adonai Eloheinu, which means Adonai is our God. We have a certain relationship with Adonai. We're the chosen people of Adonai, or the people that God chose. And the truth of the matter is that after Ve'ahavta, after we're commanded, right after the Shema, we're commanded to love God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our being. The next chapter will have one of the most beautiful statements that we have in the Torah, and that is the statement why God chose us. And that's also a radical statement. It says, you know, I didn't choose you because you're so great. Actually, you're one of the smallest people that there is. I didn't choose you. You know, Jews like to mention how many Nobel Prize winner we have. So at least in Deuteronomy 7, it says, I didn't choose you because of your merits. Actually, you're not that great. No offense to anyone. I chose you because I love you. So apparently it's not only that we're supposed to love Adonai, Adonai loves us. Not even in return. Adonai chose us. Adonai entered the relationship because Adonai fell in love with us. So the first thing when we say, Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, we already established the fact that we have a certain relationship with Adonai. And then we have the audacity, the chutzpah to say, but that's the only God that there is. There's no other God. And that God is unique, which means that God doesn't have a son, a daughter, a family, a spouse, other divinities around that God that have any kind of forces like other nations at that time had. There's only one and unique, and God is alone, and still God is ours. Obviously, after that, there should come a call for a relationship of love. If God chose us, and as we find later on in another chapter, that God actually fell in love with us, and this is why God chose us, then we're called to love God who chose us in return, God who has a special relationship with us, to love that God in return. And now we're left with more or less the only common beliefs, I wouldn't call them dogmas because Jews don't have dogmas of belief, but the only beliefs that most Jews would agree that that's a teaching from our tradition. I don't know if most Jews would agree that they actually believe in that, but they would agree that Judaism says that there's only one God, that God has a special relationship with us, and that relationship is a relationship of love. So now we're only left with a 4,000 years old challenge to make that part of our lives. Shabbat Shalom.
Our anthem this week is Elohai, which can be found on page 78.
Shabbat
rise as we turn to page 283 for the Aleinu. Please join me as we read together. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. We continue together on the top of page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Joshua Fink, Raymond Allen Sr., Dr. Stanley Frager, Bessie Netter, Lynn Gadi, Charles Golding, Selma Kaplan, Harold Kramer, Martin Liebman, Daniel Renko, Jacob Rosenfeld, Leonard Rosenthal, Eleanor Baker, Priscilla Diamond, Fred Herman, Alex Hertzman, Paul Sondheim, Edna Yarmuth, Brick Zlata, Harry L. Davis, Anatoly Tarakonova, Isabella Atlas, Leonard Dickman, Miles Friedman, Janita Bloom Jacobs, Joe Bass, Norman Friedberg, Maurice Levy, Saul M. Perlmutter. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories from our loved ones in our hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה. May the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is Oseh Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Please say Shabbat Shalom to someone that you don't know and also to people that you do know. And please join us for the oneg with the baked goods from the Women of Reform Judaism. Shabbat Shalom.